lock and the role of this nuclear submarine will dramatically change. The lock is to become enemy-occupied territory, and the sub on another stretch of water completely will be smuggling in the good guys who are on a mission to destroy a nuclear research base.
And the good guys, they're the teams competing in the final of combat. There's a first prize of £5,000 and an ITV combat trophy awaiting the winning side. And the sides in that final are the Scots Guards against the Parachute Regiment.
Yes, one old regiment and one new.
We, the Scots Guards, were formed in 1642. Waterloo's among our battle honours. We remember the heroic defence of Hougoumont Farm. Later, the Crimean War. At Armagh, we won 4 of the first VCs awarded. We, the Paras, began in World War II. The Bruneval raid, our first classic operation. Like the Scots Guards, we fought the North African campaign. It would be the same in the Normandy landings. At Arnhem, 700 Paras made it to the bridge. 100 returned. More recently, both our regiments fought in the Falklands. Again, with a lot of distinction, a lot of honour. The Prince of Wales is our Colonel-in-Chief, and the Queen is ours. Pomp and ceremony, spit and polish, aye, of course. But that's only a part of it. Just recently, for instance, we've done a tour of Belize. Mighty different from the parade ground. Training in jungle warfare, protecting and helping the locals. And, of course, training for combat, like the Paras. Training. Till a recruit conquers stuff like this, he can't call himself a para. So, ancient and modern, but with equal pride. Both trained to win. The finalists in combat. So, now meet the men who represent us. And first, the Scots Guards.
Lieutenant Alexander Carey, 26, single, from London.
Colour Sergeant Ian Gwynn, 29, married, from Flin, Stirling.
Lance Sergeant Glenn Scott, 27, single, from Portsmouth.
Garden Steve McGowan, 21, from Shildon, County Durham, also known as Mongo.
I'm Chris Kemp, Lieutenant, age 24, single, and come from Stamford Links.
So I'm Bob Parry, 27 years old, I'm married, and come from Southampton.
Lance Corporal John Bearcroft, I'm single, I'm 21 years old, I'm from Biddleton Station in Northumberland.
Private John Kernigan, age 26, single, and live in Scotland.
And the Parachute Regiment will begin this final.
Now, the Paras have been favourites right from the start. You go into the final as favourites. Favourites sometimes fall.
Let's wait and see, huh?
You be in there trying. And you're all prepared and all ready.
We're ready. Yeah.
And the Paras can win it, you think?
We can win it.
Here's the plot. The Paras, and they'll be closely followed by the Scots Guards, have been dropped into this country. And this whole area has been overrun by enemy forces. Their ultimate mission is to capture a nuclear base. The only problem is that base is over 100 miles away.
Well, they reckon that the first 50 miles can be done on rough tracks. And the local partisans have done them a couple of favours, like a couple of Land Rovers.
Competitively, this first trek is expressed in the form of a rally. And it takes place in the hills behind me. Now, of course, it's up against the clock, and there are various checkpoints along the way. Also, remember, this is hostile territory, so there could be a few surprises.
Are you ready?
The Paras, then, navigating their way to the lock. The first phase of this long trek. Now, the winners of combat will almost certainly be the team who get to the base the quicker. That's only part of it. They'll need all their skills. They'll get time penalties for every fault or failure. Private John Kernahan drives vehicle number 1, with Lieutenant Chris Kemp navigating. Lance Corporal John Baycroft, the Northumberland lad, he drives car number 2 with Sergeant Bob Parry. The route unmarked. It's all down to grid information and map reading. first near disaster. And coming up, the first problem. Well, no problem at all for the padders. Decided it wasn't a booby trap, merely a natural obstacle, and just went for it. 9 miles already. Finding the checkpoints, going well for time.
Got him!
And every checkpoint has a marker showing a letter. The teams have to note it as proof that they've been there. Uh-oh. Second near disaster for John Baycroft. Meantime, the Scots are ready to start. Already thinking ahead to an all-night trek on foot.
So how are you feeling?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, quite confident, I think.
Do you actually, Alex, get nervous before something like this?
Well, I have throughout the competition before each event. I got very nervous, yes. I didn't think I was going to be so nervous before this one. But yes, I am.
And I think the worst bit is this rucksack you have to cart around, Alex. I mean, how on earth did you get that on your back, let alone cart it around for 2 days?
Well, I mean, we help each other with the Bergens. After a while, it's just a matter of helping each other. They're too heavy to just put on yourself.
Yeah. What do you think, looking ahead, could be the low point for you?
If at any stage our navigation should go amiss, then obviously that doesn't help the morale factor. So, but apart from that, if everything goes well, then the morale keep up. It's only if we make mistakes
It must
that really
be
we
that
can see
3
them down.
o'clock in the morning syndrome that gets to you there.
It all depends what's happened before. If everything's gone according to plan, and the plan for us is to go nice and steady and keep it going, just keep it ticking over really till tomorrow morning, then we'll go into top gear. And if it's gone according to plan, then 3 o'clock in the morning will be fine. If we've had a big mistake, which is obviously going to affect the morale, then it's going to be a little bit harder for us.
Patrol Marshal 1, junction with New Road.
So the grid references being worked out. Lieutenant Alex Carey will drive one car with Ian Gwynn navigating. Glenn Scott the other with Mongo or Magoo McGowan.
Right, you ready to start up? We're going back down that way, okay?
Junction with the New Road, there's a thing.
The clock's already started, but obviously no point in rushing the map reading bit, then finding you've lost your way. Well, that's exactly what they've done right at the start. Wrong direction, 2 minutes lost. Well, they've gone 1.25 miles and they're still in trouble. Obviously something wrong, only one thing for it, back to where they came from and start all over again. Worst possible beginning to this final for the Scots. That's their progress, or rather lack of it so far. 2 false starts already, now another. And the sum total of all that toing and froing is that they've lost 11 minutes. They've now realised their mistake. They've been confusing the first checkpoint references with those for the start and couldn't understand why they couldn't find a marker. On their way at last. That's 10.5 minutes slower than the Paras to this point, and they're only 18 minutes into the competition. And where the Paras rode roughshod, the Scots guards are cautious.
All right, the pin. Right, this is that one there. I'll go straight over. No, don't go that pin. Take it out then. Sorry, that's it. Okay.
And that's nearly another minute and a half slower. Well, that was certainly a very shaky start there for the Scots Guards. I've actually come along to the next checkpoint. Hopefully they'll be making up some time, should be here shortly. Fingers crossed they've got their act together now. "37 minutes, 11 minutes slower than the Paras.
So, the Guards struggle. The Paras are going fine. Well, that's the Paras through. What they don't know, there's a dead end up there. Been spotted by the enemy, and they've blocked the way back. Interesting. Well, luckily for them, again, there wasn't a booby trap. No problems then, and no penalties. John Baycroft again. I'd hate to think what could have happened there. It's a sheer drop. The others are going to have to tow it out. And for the first time, it's the Paras who are in trouble.
Here come the Scots Guards now at a cracking pace. The all-important question, have they made up any of that lost time? An hour and 20 minutes gone, 10 minutes, not 11, between them now. Sergeant Glenn Scott. He and the other Scots still making up time. Now over to the Paras.
Right down on the right side. Harder!
Every minute they take now, of course, is a minute gained by the Scots Guards behind them.
No, Scott, get in the wagon! It's all right, get in the wagon, get your seatbelt up.
And again, the Scots Guards typically methodical. No crashing through for them. Every log manhandled.
No pins or anything.
Another 5 minutes gone, and the Scots Guards, at this moment, 4 minutes faster.
Get it out. Try and lift that rock, sir. Try and lift it with the side of your shoulder.
20 terrible minutes for the Paras.
And the Scots Guards now with a 9-minute advantage.
Get out. There it is, there it is.
An hour and 50 minutes on the road.
Romeo!
Back to the Paras.
Well, another shock for our two drivers. Barricades. More important, enemy machine gun. Looks like an ambush. No penalties. They'll just have to find another way. Well, the Paras have encountered another problem, a flat tyre. They're going to have to change the wheel, and the only thing they've got to help them is a wheel brace.
Roll it in a bit more. Roll the wedge in a bit more.
That'll move. That'll move. I need some more weight here.
Chris Kemp,
Just my weight can do this.
No, need more levers. Don't put more levers on.
John Kernahan, Bob Parry, and John Baycroft.
Just for a bit longer.
Okay, put it in.
Okay.
Okay, get the kit away then.
And behind them, the Scots Guards, 15 minutes faster. Alex Carey in the leading vehicle. Behind him, Glenn Scott. Both vehicles going well. Or are they? David, but thankfully all four lads seem to be up and running and okay. What's going to happen now?
Well, they were extremely lucky.
Yeah.
Gosman McGowan, I think, has bashed his legs. He probably knocked his head. So what I'm going to do is to take him out of the competition now and get him back to see a doctor. They penalise themselves, of course, in the time that they take to pull the vehicle out.
Right.
But it's not the end. I mean, they can still get on with 3 people.
Yes.
It's just much more difficult.
Really is going to be a case of teamwork now, I feel.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, another problem coming up for the Paras. And it's a 10-minute penalty. That delayed booby trap explosion would have taken out the second vehicle. It seems the Paras have come to a dead end. We'll find out more about that in a minute. But for them, it seems the driving phase is over. 2 hours, 30 minutes, 37 seconds, including that 10-minute penalty. But what's the position with the Scots Guards now, and how's Magoo McGowan?
Well, the good news, of course, is that Magoo is all right. He's badly shaken and bruised, but nothing worse than that. The bad news, well, the team can't tow this vehicle up the hill, so they're down now to 1 vehicle and just 3 men. But they're going to fight on, and all is not yet lost. They're 26 minutes slower than the Paras, penalties excluded. But with what's to come in this final, well, that may be nothing. But this won't help. Their turn for the flat tyre. This is where the Scots Guards could really feel the loss of their fourth man. But in fact, the way they're actually going about changing this tyre is textbook stuff. It's the only way to do it with just the 3 of them.
I've got this one, sir. Son, loosen them off. As soon as you've done that, I need a wheel brace again.
7 minutes 30. That's nearly double the time taken by the 4 Paras.
We've been met by a friendly agent at the point where the road ran out.
Going up to, I believe, to Pole Farm,
Yes.
Yeah, well, what's happened is, as you can see, there's been a landslide, so we're going to change you on. You're going to have to leave your vehicles here and hide up your vehicles at this location, because you can't go back, because the enemy forces are now coming from the north down to the south, and then you're going to go on foot through a series of locations on up through to Pole Farm. These locations, we've recce'd them, and we've, from our friendly partisans around the back end of it, and they feel that's the best route for you to take.
Well, there's only one thing for it. They've got to walk, walk, walk to the lock, where partisans should be waiting for them to guide them across the water to the next stage of the trek, which is towards the nuclear research base. And when they make that trek, It's going to be with full kit and weapons, weighing over 100 pounds per man. $1,400 hours, 35 miles or more just to the lock. But that's as the crow flies. And the nuclear base is a long, long way the other side, and treacherous terrain all the way. Bob Parry, the sergeant, leading the way, a real force for the Paras throughout this series of combat. Chris Kemp, the lieutenant, John Baycroft, the lance corporal, and John Kernahan, the private. Their first main objective still 10 miles away. Steeples Mountain, 1,265 feet.
Behind them, the 3 Scots Guards, still on phase 1. And coming to the booby-trapped logs. No time for caution now, they risk it. And no penalty, they get away with it. No second vehicle there to be blown up. Alex Carey at the wheel. It was Scott's Land Rover that crashed and injured Magoo. The end of the road, 2:59:52, an hour and 30 of penalties, total 4:29:52. That huge penalty imposed for losing 1 vehicle and 1 man.
Right, I'll try to do the fast vehicle adventure.
So that's the end of the driving phase. They're about to start their long trek. It's 35 miles through the night. Despite the problems, though, that the Scots Guards have so far encountered, they're actually not doing too badly at all. 2 hours behind the Paras, but that could still easily be turned round with the best part of a day and a half to come. Different technique here from the Paras. They wore their packs till halfway down. The Scots using ropes to lower everything. Possibly safer, certainly much slower.
I know, but let's try. It's gonna pull me. Leave it up for it. Right, I'll go that.
Well, the 3 Scots Guards slog on. Ahead of them, the Paras are making heavy weather of finding one of the checkpoints. What they're looking for is the waterfall checkpoint on the way up to Steeples Mountain. And what they don't realise is that they've gone past it, so they have to come back. Then they miss the gully leading up to Steeples and come up another route. A very difficult climb up to the checkpoint. That's around 10 miles they've done. They might have a few brief rests, but there'll be no sleep for them lads tonight. By the time they reach the checkpoint, their errors have cost them 20 minutes. It's time for a quick cuppa and to plan the next move.
What we could do, you know, is follow the stream all the way down, you know?
That's what I'm thinking of doing. But the checkpoint looks like it's the other side of the river, so we're going to figure out how we're going to cross that.
Tired? Well, obviously. But morale is still high, fortified by strong tea and close teamwork.
You all right, John?
It's late evening now. The Scots are approaching the same point where the Paras slipped up. They've been going well. Their march up to the last point was 10 minutes faster than the Paras. But now they too make mistakes.
They're bearing. Should we cut up that?
We can go up here, come on.
Yeah.
Rather like the Paras, they have to double back before slogging on up to Steeples. But it's not crucial. Well, it's getting really dark now, the night's setting in. They're still doing well. They've still got a chance. 30 hours at Steeples and another setback. They've hidden their kit down below to ease the climb, so now they can't take the straight line to the next checkpoint. They have to go down, then across. Well, I must say I don't envy either of the teams now. Ahead of them, they've got a long night. It's getting cold, the winds come up. Will they make it? The terrain the finalists of combat are having to navigate and conquer. Difficult by day, horrendous for them by night. That's been their route. A brief lay-up in the small hours, and now in daylight down to the beach where a boat is waiting to ferry them 5 miles down and across the loch for the next and final stage of their trek to destroy their nuclear research base.
Well, the Paras look to have had a long, hard struggle, but it's a tribute to their strength, training and fitness that they've managed to get through it. Also, the Scots Guards are down there somewhere behind them, and they've got it all to go through.
The Paras, well, they're tired out. Their feet are blistered, but they're still going fast. They're nearly at the loch.
Well, this is probably the beach they're going to choose for their rendezvous. You know the scenario. They have to make radio contact, which they'll choose to do, I should imagine, in the trees over there. They make radio contact with a friendly partisan. He's the man who's going to provide the boat to get them across the loch.
And they've now been marching for nearly 16 hours.
Oscar 42 Alpha, this is Oscar 11. Eagle's Claw. I say again, Eagle's Claw. Over.
So perfect, yeah?
Still several miles to go. One more mountain to cross. And this is the area where the enemy are reported to be about in large numbers. So the Paras are going to need all their military skills. Now, their first task here was to rendezvous with an agent. who should be leading them to the equipment they'll be needing when they reach the lake. Well, as you can see, I'm here by the water, and the paras have still got to cross this water. They're somewhere in the hills, still trekking to get here. And the latest intelligence that we have is that there's only 2 of the paras turned up to meet the agent. Now, unless all 4 turn up, it's an hour's penalty. Well, it's cost them 30 minutes anyway. They've been on the march over 18 hours now. Chris Kemp had decided to leave 2 men down below with the kit, while he and the other lad found the agent. The agent insisted on seeing all 4, so they had to go all the way down and up again. Now the agent will talk.
Last night there's a parachute drop, and there's 2 drops. One at grid reference A, one at B. The equipment in the drops actually help you in there.
The paras are gradually getting nearer their target. The Scots Guards are back at the beach, reflecting on the night's march.
It was, the mist came down round about 10 o'clock up in the hills, so it made navigation that much more difficult.
Yeah.
And one of the points was an actual trig point, which is not that big when you can't see 2 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
And it was pretty windy. So the night was a little bit uncomfortable, but in the end, we still made the checkpoints, and we think we did a reasonable times.
Hello, Oscar 42 Alpha, Oscar 12. Eagle's Claw, over.
1,300 hours on the second day. So they're off across the loch. The next task for them is to find 2 parachutes. Now, those parachutes will have equipment attached to them, and they need that equipment to help them complete their mission.
Same as the paras, of course. They've already found their parachutes, crossed the lake, and they're now creeping their way towards the nuclear research base. First team there will try to destroy it. The Scots Guards, though, haven't yet found their parachutes.
Behind me, you can see the first one. There's a green bag attached to it. In that bag is a little rubber dinghy. They're going to need that dinghy to cross a lake to get to the second parachute, which is blown a long way off course.
What are you doing?
Just going to check see the pumps and that.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do if they're not there?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not able to blow up.
Take the local service station.
The alternative is we can blow it up here.
No, we'll take it with this survey.
Right, I'm only the patrol commander.
The strain beginning to show, perhaps, as the 3 surviving Scots continue their trek, leaving their packs behind as they suss out their next moves, then having, of course, to return for them. The result, more time lost. It's now very hot indeed, and although this lake may look refreshing and inviting and picturesque, I can tell you it's absolutely freezing. And this is the next obstacle for the Scots Guards. The kit in the boat. It's interesting to ponder about these chaps and wonder what, say, Colour Sergeant Ian Gwynn would be doing at this moment if he'd remained a civilian.
It's hard to say. I definitely wasn't heading anywhere as such, so it's really hard to say. But what the Army has done for me, or the Scots Guards more specifically, is it's given me a purpose in life. It's given me a job that I get a lot of job satisfaction out of. And I've really met a lot of people that I could say I would trust my life to them.
That's good. You go.
Nearly 25 hours now on the march. Just time to dry their things a bit. The water, in fact, going to make their feet feel even worse. Then on again towards the next objective. Well, they were catching up on the paras, but time now beginning to run out on them as they reach that next objective, the second parachute. 26 hours, 6 minutes now since they finished the drive. Alex Carey looking at his watch as Glenn Scott takes charge of the new equipment, an 84 anti-tank weapon. Unfortunately for them, though, the paras look like beating them to the chance of using it.
Paras indeed have reached their target, the area surrounding it where they'll meet their final agent. It's taken them, including that minor penalty, 24 hours, 33 minutes, 55 seconds. A really gritty, typically professional performance.
And the Scots Guards can't possibly match that. The time of these 3 survivors in the final combat, a truly courageous effort after that massive penalty incurred by their crash, 31 hours, 20 minutes, 9.
The march is over, but combat isn't. Now for the attack, then escape by helicopter. Chris Kemp, the agent, more about him in a moment, and the abandoned building they've come to destroy. The Paras are now nearing their target. It's the nuclear research station. And at this moment, they're meeting with the professor, who not only has inside information for them, he has a specialized piece of equipment. It's a grappling launcher, and that will help them complete their mission. Everything's ready. In 30 minutes, the base should blow. Well, the Paras have set the charges, and they're off to be picked up by the helicopter. But there's a major problem. Between here and there, enemy patrol. And in that patrol, 2 armoured vehicles, and also infantry targets.
Okay, we're all listening in. Battle picture is that we have to make our way towards the bunker, grenade bunker, in order to bring in a helicopter. We know there's a patrol, a mobile patrol to our front, and we also know there's a platoon minus strength infantry support for those vehicles. The other factor we know is the fact that in the bunker there is an enemy OP consisting of 2 men dug in. We have to clear that before we can bring in the helicopters.
First, then, the vehicles.
Stand by.
Miss first time with the 84.
Stand by.
M-kill. That's a shot that would have immobilized the vehicle. Kemp and Parry, watch out. Kernahan reloads. Baycroft will aim at the other vehicle. Another immobilization.
Move on left to right. Better move. We'll move first. You 2 cover, okay?
Gradually working their way up towards the enemy bunker. Baycroft with the machine gun, the light support weapon.
Keep scanning that left side as well, sir.
Parry, who was a sniper in the Falklands.
So the targets and the simulated enemy fire remind us that, thankfully, this isn't war. It's an army competition, Combat 89. All sorts of things being tested in this final phase: fieldcraft, tactics, marksmanship, command and control, teamwork, and especially how all those skills can be performed in a state of prodigious fatigue after more than 25 hours of driving, climbing, swimming and marching.
The paras obviously feel that fatigue. For instance, they move a bit too slowly in view of the need for a quick getaway. But despite all that, their spotting of targets remains as good as ever.
And this is still part of the competition, of course.
OK, move now.
Time bonuses for good performance. For the paras, 3 hits on the armoured cars and only 1 infantry target missed. That means 5 minutes 12 off their drive and march time.
And the Scots Guards, without Magoo, without his light support weapon, with a strong crosswind blowing up, but most of all through sheer fatigue, they too, understandably, reveal shortcomings in this final phase.
Tell me when. Yep, you're all right. Stand by. Keep it there. Up, up.
No hits on the cars, only 3 on the infantry targets. No bonuses, penalties for misses instead. The final result of combat. The paras have beaten the Scots Guards by a margin expressed in time of just under 7 hours. And still the enemy bunker to knock out, still the getaway by helicopter.
Good night!
And still the base to go up.
Oscar 1-1, confirm pickup at grid 6 Tango. Bravo Golf, Whiskey Bravo, Charlie Oscar. In 2 minutes, over.
Good night!
Oscar 1-1, moving now, confirm colour of smoke on the ground. Out.
The teams are on their way out. An enemy mortar position half a mile distant has opened up on them. Help arrives in the form of air support. The mortar position is destroyed. The escape is almost complete. Now only one question's left. Will the nuclear research base blow? The mission's accomplished, the paras safely away, the winners of Combat 89. And to present the awards now, a man who himself has had first-hand experience of combat, Simon Weston.
Hello.
Simon, you've been watching the development of the teams over the weeks. What have your impressions been?
The effort the boys have put in has been extremely hard, very, very professional. Nothing but admiration for all of the boys who took part, especially the B teams who pushed the boys so hard for the actual 18 places.
What has been amazing, what has really come through strongly, is the motivation and the teamwork. Would you say that that's a common characteristic of every regiment?
Teamwork is essential within the forces. And when you're doing something as hard as the lads have done, I think it'll speak for itself. Oh, the cold, the pain, and the sheer agony of looking for more oxygen in the lungs. I think what the lads have achieved is just absolutely superb.
You've recently won an award yourself as Motivator of the Year, which is talking again about those same qualities of teamwork and motivation. What are you trying to achieve?
Basically, we just want young people from the inner cities to realise their full potential by realising the needs of their own community, the people within their own community, because we believe that at the end of the day, it's them who will change the problems and not fancy buildings and such.
Right. Well, talking of realising full potential, we've certainly seen that with the two teams who are going to now be presented with their awards. Emlyn.
Well, thanks, Annika. And I have here a cheque for £5,000, which the Paras will donate to charity. And also, they'll be allowed to keep a replica of this winning trophy. So, Simon, if you present that to the winning team officer, Chris Kemp.
Supreme.
Sergeant Bob Parry.
There you go. Thanks very much. Well done, Bob. Thank you.
Corporal John Baycroft.
Thank you.
John. No.
Private John Kernahan.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Well done.
Cheers. John, if you'd accept the winning trophy on behalf of the rest of the lads.
Supreme.
And the runners-up, the Scots Guards, receiving their trophies, Guardsman Stephen McGowan.
Well done, Steve.
Lance Sergeant Glenn Scott.
Cheers, Simon.
Colour Sergeant Ian Gwynn.
Cheers, Simon.
And Lieutenant Alexander Carey.
Thanks very much.
Raghu, it's good to see you back with the team. Feeling okay now?
Yeah, not too bad.
No bits missing?
No, it's all there.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
You must have felt pretty sick, though, sitting back at base, knowing that you'd left your team members to slog it round alone.
Yeah, it was... at the time, I thought, carry on and do it. But when I got up in the morning, I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it round.
Yeah. What was going through your head, though?
Pain.
Pain, apart from pain. And which is the best regiment in the world?
Scots Guards.
I was just getting worried because you hadn't said it for about 5 minutes. Anyway, congratulations, all of you. We've been impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that you went up in a helicopter, and I know that it took you round the final route march that you had to do. Did it look as long when you were up in the air as when you were actually doing it?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It took us about half an hour to fly it.
In fact, I didn't get all the way around because I ran out of fuel.
Anyway, congratulations and worthy winners.
So that's the end of Combat 89. It's given us a fascinating insight into Army life. Very impressive.
Yes, very impressive, and we've met some super characters. The thing that has impressed me more than anything else, Annika, is the camaraderie amongst the teams. When a person or a team has been in trouble, they've really closed ranks.
Sheer professionalism.
Well, we look forward to seeing you for Combat 90.
So it's goodbye to the Royal Regiment of Wales. The Light Infantry. The Queen's Regiment. The Royal Irish Rangers. The Gurkhas. The King's Own Scottish Borderers. The Scots Guards. And the winners of combat, the Parachute Regiment.